All right, welcome to the 4 o'clock session of the NNP Symposium. I'm really looking forward to this session. We have John Albanese from CAC is here, is going to talk about the new CAC grading service. John is a longtime veteran of the coin industry, involved with founding of PCGS and NGC. We will be taking questions, so you can enter those in the Q&A. We will get to those after a little short overview here, and I expect we'll have some pretty lively Q&A once we get going. So let's get into it. John, can you talk a little bit how you got started in coins?
Oh, sure. I started really as a hobby. I was born in 1959, so I'm 63 now. But I do recall in 1964, 65, all the buzz in the news, if there was such a thing of buzz in those days, of silver coins coming out of circulation. So at that time, I remember it was sort of like it was sort of a treasure hunt, like, going through your mom's, change, or going to the bank and getting rolls of coins. That's how a lot of guys of my generation started. But what really got me going was really my grandfather was a collector in some respects. But he would, whenever he saw me, he would give me these circulated barber quarters. And I do remember, when I was a young kid, getting this 1899 O barber quarter, 99S barber quarter, and it could have been in good or AG, but just being fascinated about the history. It was like a time machine. It kind of brought me back, and it just made my imagination run wild. So I was really hooked to coins really at a very young age, and for me it'd be really like I was extremely hyperactive. I was like an ADHD child. I think today, I think if I were born, like today or 10 years ago, I would most likely be addicted to World of Warcraft or some other video game. I probably never would have gotten into coins, but yeah. That's what fascinated me. And then I do remember when I was 13 or 14, a gentleman named Randy Block opened up a kiosk in the lobby of a department store called Majors in Flemington. And I rode my bike there, and I started trading coins with him. Interesting, the first person I met there was a gentleman named Bill Wetzler, who was one of my all-star graders here. But that's probably back in 1973 or 74 period. So as a teenager, I worked at a coin shop, and that really got me like to the next level. And then I met Ed Hips Jr. and Senior. They really spent a lot of time with me and taught me quite a bit. And later on, going to coin shows in my teens, like guys like Lou Rosera, who I don't know if you know him, he's more of a paper money dealer now, helped me out with silver dollars. So when I was younger, it seemed like I got a lot of help from other coin dealers. I mean, things weren't quite as involved in those days, and coin shows weren't as busy. So people had. I would notice that many dealers had time to spend with you, right? I mean, today at a coin show, that probably couldn't be duplicated because everyone's so busy, and they're in and out of the show by Wednesday and Thursday. But so that's kind of what got me going. I sort of got the bug at a very early age.
Yeah. And then did you go through the Lincoln cent phase like many of us did?
Actually, I wasn't too keen on Lincoln because I was really more of a Washington quarter guy. Like, to me, it was a 32 DNS. I mean, the 09 SVDB was just unobtainable at that age, where I don't know what the cost was. Could have been $75. I don't know. But whatever it was impossible, right? So that sort of turned me off of that series. But I was more, I liked the silver, the feel of the silver. And I was more of a Washington quarter guy. Yeah.
And did you go into dealing full time, like right out of high school?
Well, I went to college for about a year. Only went to about a dozen classes, but I was always involved in coins. I was always thinking about coins. So I didn't last long. And then I opened a store in Flemington, New Jersey, in late 1978, and started going to coin shows. And that's how my so-called full-time career started. Yeah.
All right, and then so you're dealing coins in the late 70s, and then the PCGS gets started 86. What was going on in the market at that time that created a need for that service, and people that wanted to do that?
Right. So in 86, in that time period, in the early 80s, I was I was the main buyer for a company called Lee Numismatics in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, and I got a lot of exposure going to coin shows and buying and selling gem coins. And I remember back in those days there weren't as many, in terms of my competition at a coin show in the early '80s for buying the kind of coins I would buy would be like Greg Holloway, for example, and David Hall, right? So we traveled in the same circles with David Hall, and I do remember, when I spoke to David about it early on, it was more so that, he had his clients and we had our clients, and our clients liked us and trusted us. However, the whole issue was, what if you get hit by a bus? And back in those days, as you know, you could sell someone, pristine, amazing coins at your cost. And if you brought them to another coin shop, they would tell you that you got ripped off because there was a lot of negativity or jealousy, or maybe even just lack of knowledge. But in either case, he felt the need, and it was, and rightly so, that here's 32 guys in this new network. I think they called it Annie or something. And now, so if David Hall or I get hit by a bus, or Fred Sweeney or Bruce Amspacher, there were 31 other guys that would honor that product. That was really the whole philosophy of it. Was to basically give the buyer more confidence that something happens to me, you don't have to worry about going to an unreputable dealer. There's 31 other guys that will take care of you. And then I remember sitting with David Hall at I think it was a place called Burger Fantasia, or that's what and I remember saying that, saying, David, this is a runaway train. There were some people that were skeptical, but it took off rapidly, right? And there was definitely a need for it.
So someday there'll be a plaque at Burger Fantasia saying this is where it all started.
I think Burger Fantasia was the thing that we ordered. I think it was a different restaurant. It's probably a defunct chain, right?
All right. So in any case, PCGS and NGC were rolling along.
Right.
You started the CAC stickering service, I think about 15 years ago.
Right.
Now fast forward to today, you've announced CAC Grading. And what's the rationale for new grading service at this time?
Well, really, it seems to me, and I always mentioned, I've always compared to a baseball analogy of what inning we're in the coin market. And I always felt here, when it sort of got boring for me, which it really never did, but it got to the point where I feel like between all the great collections that we've seen and all the coins that have come out, I feel like in terms of the really interesting trophy coins that we've seen, most of them, it's pretty easy to say what if we're in the 8th inning or 9th inning. And it got to the point, and we serve those customers, I believe we serve our customers well in that regard. But there was a bigger part of the market that we were missing. And I mean, and as you know, in fact, I just noticed the other day, I was helping my wife at the post office, and I saw a registered mail package. I'm like, what, $95? Someone paid $95 to send us coins? I mean, I'm just blown away by the cost of shipping and all the soft costs involved. There were so many collectors and dealers that we weren't able to serve, because as you know, an 1876 CC quarter in XF might be a $200 coin for an average coin, and a real nice example, original CAC example, could be $350 or $400. But in reality, for someone to take that coin, send it to a grading service, get it graded, send it back to us, get it stickered, you're and returning, you're talking about 4-way postage. That's about $100. You're talking about 2 grading fees. You're probably talking $150 on a $200 coin that now maybe you can break even on. It just seemed to me that the soft costs and all those other costs were sort of eating up the value. It seemed that why not save them a step? Instead of paying $150 in shipping and grading, you pay $200 for the coin, you send it to us, you get it graded for $20-something, and there's only 2 shipping costs. So maybe that $150 cost gets cut in half, right? So you still get the benefit of a CAC product at a much, now you have a chance to make a profit on the coin. Right. So it gives them a fighting chance,
sure.
A better.
Can you talk a little bit about the CAC master grading sets that you're going to be putting together?
Well, I've been busy putting together. We have a long way to go, but it's going to be a multi-7-figure investment. And it's going to be it's going to be the platform really of our education, our marketing is really, and we've been criticized, quite a bit. Like on our website, we don't really talk about what's our standard, what are we looking for. It's very hard to vocalize. I mean, we can always write a standard, right? But I believe seeing a grading set really says it all, right? And the hope is that let's say at the fun show in 2024, you'll be able to go to the show and 20 or 30 of our partners will have our grading sets there, and it'll be published where they'll be at what table number, and you'll be able to actively view all of our grading sets. And when you could sit down and look at a seated quarter grading set from the grade Poor 1 up to maybe MS67, maybe MS68. And I think that will give you a good idea of what you should be looking for. This is our best way to educate, and not just, and it's pretty easy to form a grading set, but I think collectors really want to know that here's a coin that just barely made our 65. It's okay. It's not a 65 plus, but it's a B coin. And here's a coin, a 64 plus that we almost called 65. Rather than having every coin solid for the grade, it's good to have a few coins, that didn't quite make the next grade, and with a narrative, and also having coins in there as well that have detailed grading. Like in other words, here's a coin here's a 76 cc quarter that has AU detail, but it's been lightly cleaned, and a lot of times it gets market graded to an XF. We don't subscribe to that. We would prefer to call it AU details cleaned, but it'd be good to show coins also that don't, that will not get a straight grade, right? Have those in the grading set as well.
All right, great. Thanks for the overview. We're going to jump into the Q&A now. We've already got quite a number of questions teed up here. So the first question, CAC currently only stickers the top tier PCGS or NGC graded coins, which is what CAC internally calls the A and B coins. So given the new service, why isn't a submitter better off submitting to PCGS or NGC first and then getting the sticker as opposed to going through CAC grading directly?
Oh, all right. So it's a good question. We will continue, the new CAC will continue the sticker coins. The same finalizer, myself being here in New Jersey, the same sticker, the same database. However, the price will go up because we don't want to cannibalize the other service. And, we're hoping our 10 or 12,000 coins a month gets dropped to a few thousand coins. So there will be a higher cost to it. We are grandfathering in our current collector base to X amount of lots per year at the old price without charging them for, if a coin doesn't sticker, we're going to honor that for the next 10 years. But after the 20 coins is up, they'll have to pay the going rate. I think it'd be a lot cheaper actually to send it into the CAC service just once and get your grade. Now, of course, if it's a $10,000 or $100,000 coin, then that doesn't. It usually doesn't matter as much to someone in terms of the shipping and stickering costs, and they're going to do what they're going to want to do. I'm certain that there are collectors that prefer the NGC and PCGS coin with a sticker, and that's okay. They'll have that option. It's going to cost more, but they'll have the option. So I'm not saying they're better off or not. Personally, I don't think there's a difference. A coin is a coin is a coin. To me, I've always felt that, I like to look at coins as though, the grading services are out of business, and what would it sell for if it were in a capital holder, right? So we like to believe that many of our coins would hold up, whether they were in a holder or not. So, I mean, if that's what the consumer wants, that's fine. That's, they might be just happy doing things the way they are doing now. They can pay money, and but like I said, the guy with the 76 cc quarter in XF, if he pays $200 for it, he's going to probably pay $150 cost versus half of that. He's probably better off with a coin like that. And listen, we'll see how it shakes out.
Right. I think the other situation there is maybe somebody's 80 or 90% done with a set of PCGS CAC coins, and they want to finish them out in the same holders.
Right. And again, originally we were just going to stop stickering coins, period. Right. And then got a major backlash from collectors and dealers. And then I started talking about phasing out in a year, and then I still got, so then I just said, well, whatever. Signing a 10-year contract, we'll do it for 10 years.
Right.
And that's the best I can say for now, right?
All right. Next question. Well, this didn't take long. A listener asks, NGC just announced a new grading service with 1 to 10 tiers. This seems to be confusing step backwards from the current 1 to 70 grading tiers.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard about it. I haven't read it yet, but I did hear, I believe it's a 10 is a 70 and a 9.9 is a 69. So
Yeah.
It's not all that confusing to me. I haven't read it. I don't really have an opinion at this point.
Yeah. So we'll see where the market goes with that.
It expands the hobby. It's wonderful, right?
All right. Next question is CAC considering adopting a 10-point grading system?
I'd never thought about it. I never thought about it. I mean, we have our hands full right now with the 70-point grading scale, I think.
Yeah. All right. Next question. CAC sticker represents a valuable second opinion. What advantage does the CAC slab have over PCGS or NGC with a CAC sticker? And if not, why do we need another grading service?
Yeah, well, I do believe, as I mentioned to you before, with the seeded quarter, and we see them every day. We see coins that are market acceptable, right? That have some, not major, but slight problems. They're still valuable coins. It could be an early $10 gold piece or a 93S dollar where, an extra fine, which is, to me, would be considered cleaned. But, market acceptable for many collectors. But at CAC, you're just going to get a stricter standard. So, and I believe that should translate into a higher price. It depends on how the market treats it. So far, the market has spoken that they'd rather pay more for a nicer coin. So basically, I would think that I expect us to be putting a lot more coins in details holders, and I expect many to be cracked out. But if that happens, right? Yeah.
Kind of a side question there. How often do you see coins that you like, but you don't like them at the grade, and if they were like a grade lower, you would sticker on it?
Oh, I see that quite often. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's and then I see things that are just like I had a gentleman in today from upstate New York who had 2 coins. He had I don't know, somebody had an Arizona Rays half and AU50 stickered, and then he had a VF35 that wasn't stickered, and they had the same detail. And I said, well, the VF35 is like, it was very dark. I thought environmentally damage on the obverse, and the high points on the leg were so obvious and so shiny that the contrast, it stood out. It made it look like it had more weight than it really did. And they value graded it as a 35. They put it in a holder. And like I said, no one's going to get hurt on that coin as a 35, but basically had the reverse was a choice AU. I don't think I even answered your question, so I apologize.
All right, let's move on. Will CAC consider putting stickers on the NGCX slabs?
Stickers? Oh, well, no, because CAC doesn't and will continue not to sticker modern coins.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, next question. As a competitive response, what is to stop PCGS or NGC from instituting their own stickering services? How does adding a third top-line grading service simplify or make coin grading more objective or understandable?
I wouldn't have a problem if NGC or PCGS decide to sticker our coins. That would be fine with me. Anything that helps the consumer I'm in favor of it.
And in terms of CAC grading and making the grading more objective or understandable, how do you respond to that?
Well, I think to make it more understandable is basically, if you have a coin, if you have a 76 cc quarter in 63 and you think there's a problem with it, and you're at a major coin show, or you want to visit Virginia Beach or go on our website, you can look at our grading set of seeded quarters. And if something is askew, then, maybe we buy the coin back.
Right.
What, 2 or 3 coins back this week because they just didn't make sense. So it happens. We're going to make mistakes. It's how you handle the mistakes, right?
All right, next question. Will there be some sort of streamlined process for crossing CAC stickered coins into CAC slabs?
Well, yeah, we will have a submission policy, and I think for the most part, again, we haven't recognized, and the caveat there is we haven't recognized the plus since it was instituted. We just sort of ignore it. So, there are many coins out there, CAC plus coins, that I believe are pluses, and we will plus them. But there are some that we won't plus. Conversely, there's a lot of regular non-plus coins out there graded that I think should be plus coins. So we will have a crossover service, and we will have an option as plus only, right? So if someone has a beautiful 1862 silver dollar in XF, that's gorgeous, and it should plus. I mean, we would entertain that coin coming in just to be plus only. That would be okay, and that might be to the consumer's advantage. Whereas if it's worth the same as a 45 in both holders, why should you crack it? I spoke to a gentleman yesterday that has an amazing, famous large cent that's pristine, and we spoke about it, and I said, no, you're not cracking that out of the hole. That's been that holder for 20 years. It's pristine. Leave it. Just leave it alone. That coin shouldn't be handled again, right?
Yeah. And then I guess it goes without saying, but as far as crossing coins, anything with the CAC sticker currently will automatically certify at CAC grading, correct?
Unless there's a problem. I mean, there are coins, like I said, we see it every week, unfortunately, where a coin has developed a film on it or PVC. And, we're not going to have a commercial conservation service at CAC, but we will offer free of charge a coin that comes in that we've stickered. If there's a spot that's formed or something, if we can remove it harmlessly with a solvent, we will do that. But we're not going to purposely take a Walking Liberty half with PVC on it and just crack it out and put it back in our holder with PVC on it. That would be a mistake. So we would offer either to buy it back, or take the sticker off and compensate them for the difference, or conserve it professionally without a charge. And it might go back in the same holder, it might not. I don't know. But we would mediate any type of loss.
Okay. All right, next question. Will CAC be grading only classic US coins? Is there any possibility of expanding to world coins?
Well, I someday I could see us doing world coins. From what I'm hearing and reading about China and Russia, I hear about the counterfeits. It really scares me. I think that concerns me. I could see European coins or South America, Canadian coins first, but as I've said to Betty, without having world-class experts, we're not going to even entertain it. And I do have quite a few resumes coming in from and letters and calls from world coin experts making suggestions. But right now our focus is to get the U.S. vintage, get that off the ground and up and running, and then if the experts come along, we're open to doing world coins.
Yeah. And I think we've all seen, counterfeit coins in counterfeit PCGS or NGC slabs. Have you ever seen anything like that with a counterfeit CAC sticker as well?
I do know there were two coins out there, $50, I think a 51S and a 49S had counterfeit. The stickers weren't even holograms. They were crude. I guess it could happen. Yeah, I mean, I've seen in 15 years, two of them.
Wow. Okay.
But sure, it's anything could be counterfeited, as you know.
All right. And then I guess the other part of that question, CAC grading, is it only doing classic, or is it doing classic and modern US coins?
Well, I was told to be careful the way I answer this, but I always say and this is one of my graders, Ron Javusky, but when I'm asked, are you going to do modern coins? I say, unfortunately, yes. That's still my answer.
So if I want my 1973 Kennedy and MS-70,
yeah,
I can send it in.
Good luck getting an MS-70 on that coin.
Okay, all right. All right, next question. Will we be able to submit coins at shows for a sticker?
Well, I mean, we're not going to be grading at shows, right? So we will have a booth at shows. we won't be bringing the whole team of graders to shows. So I'd say the answer is no. I mean, I know it's a problem for people that want to ship their coins back and forth, but I think the wear, I mean, we did it at a few shows when we first started CAC. We went to a show in Connecticut. You bring your whole staff there, you shut the office down. It's very disruptive. It's, you know, you really want to be focused. You want certain type of lighting. And I find it, like, I'm a creature of habit, and I think I'm much more consistent getting up the same time every day, having the same breakfast, the same workout, grading coins at the same time. It's much better than being on the road.
Yeah, I heard a lot of complaints about the on-site grading at the last Baltimore show, but I'm not sure if that's because they were on site or just because people like complaining about grading.
Yeah, I always, there's always complaints. I mean, Leo, from someone, if you're a consumer, you want to hear that they're too tight, right? So that's a good thing. But you know, some of these guys I think are a little. I don't know what they're smoking, but they'll show me like 20 coins that they cracked out, and they're upset, and they got the same grade. I said, "You call that tight? I mean, why would you crack these? Why would you crack these coins out in the first place?" So I don't know what they're smoking. I don't get it.
Okay. All right. So I think you were talking a little bit about on-site grading there, saying, no, we're not going to do that. The other part of this question was, will people be able to submit coins at shows for CAC grading and be able to submit coins for stickering?
Yeah, we will have a way at shows, at major shows, just for people to drop their coins off. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Next question. There are standards for grading like PCGS photo grade. How will CAC grading be any different?
Well, photo grade, I have the book. I haven't noticed it online, but I guess since Bowers wrote it, that makes sense. And like I said, you could have things online. I think for circulated coins, it works, as you know, because in many cases it's almost mathematical of percentage of wear or full rim or full liberty. So I mean, we are going to have grading sets and things of that nature online as well. It'll take us a while to build up that library, and we are getting help from a lot of our partners. But once you get really over choice AU on a coin, I find it. I mean, I can't grade by a photo of any coin that's high grade. It's impossible.
Yeah. Next question, will CAC stick to technical grading and not succumb to market grading? I guess with your grading set, you're plugged into whatever the grading set is.
Well, that'll answer that. And I do believe that, I mean, listen, there's always market grading to a point, but as I said before, I would expect many more coins and detailed holders from CAC because we don't subscribe to an AU 93S dollar being cleaned. It's not okay as an XF to me. I mean, it might be worth XF money, and that's fine, but I think a collector should go in with his eyes wide open and should know this coin is an AU, it's lightly cleaned. If you want to pay XF money, go ahead, but they should know what they're getting, I think. So I would say overall the answer is no to that.
Yeah, you just see tons of that where it's obviously, you know, a net grading job.
Right.
All right. Next question. I understand CAC stopped placing stickers on colonial coins. Will CAC slab colonial coins?
Well, yeah, we will, but not on phase one. And the whole thing with colonials, like I said, I feel comfortable. I personally feel comfortable grading colonials. I'm concerned about a lot of the coins that have been waxed and buffed, but there was one. I remember I remember the auction. I forget when it was exactly. It was right after we decided, but there was a bunch of Massachusetts silver that came in a stacks auction, and I looked at these coins. We're not talking one or two. We're talking about 40 coins, 50 coins, and I saw a lot of coins in 55 and 58 holders, and I'm thinking, these coins are these are 62, 63. They look beautiful, uncirculated. I made some calls. You know, I talked to John Ager, I talked to Tony Tarano, a few other guys, and said, well, if they're off center, they have clips. Sometimes they knock them down, and it's the way they face up. And I'm thinking, this is just crazy. I said, I just had the impression at that point that, I mean, it's not like it's a Kentucky, you know, penny or something, or a Fujio. These were coins that were more complicated, and I just almost felt like I had experts disagreeing with each other. And I just felt like, this is just above my pay grade. And
Mm.
I think actually what it turned out to be that those coins sold for multiples of the grade. I think they wound up upgrading. So I felt better about that, but it was just really confusing to me. And I'm not enough of an authority where I can pound my fist on the table like I can a barber half or see it half and say, no, I can't say that about coins. I could see them, but I can't say, oh no, I've been dealing with them for 40 years. So without having really an authority or a top expert, then I would say we're gonna take a pause, and we will. That's our goal, is to grade them, but we want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Have you announced the increased pricing structure for the stickers?
We're working that out. It'll probably be competitive what it would cost to get a coin graded, so there's no cannibalization.
Okay. All right. And then will you be also charging for the coins that don't sticker?
Well, again, for the collectors that are already our members, they'll be grandfathered that for X amount of coins. But unfortunately, in the future, we will be charging them either the whole amount or a portion, because, like I said, we want to phase that out over a 10-year period. And if we're overly customer friendly, which we've been, and we've probably given away over $5 million in grading since we started. If we're just too friendly, we're going to get flooded, and we have to, we want to avoid that.
Yeah. Now, also with the member list, I know there's currently a waiting list for the sticker service. Is that same list going to get grandfathered in for the CAC grading in terms of accepting new members?
Yeah. So right now we do have a waiting list for CAC, and these are the collectors and dealers that have applied before we made the announcement that we're starting grading service, and they're going to be grandfathered for the 10 years. And
Okay.
anyone after that, unfortunately, won't be. We had to draw the line somewhere.
So if they're already on the list for the stickering,
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Good for the list for the new service. Okay, great. All right. How will CAC process PCGS CAC coin submitted to CAC for crossover into the holder?
Well, again, there'll be a simple crossover form, and obviously, if you have a PCGS MS65 1927 St. Gaudens and you want to cross it over, you simply check off crossover, right? Some will do that, but if it's in an old green holder or a rattler, they might just say, hey, I'm not taking this out of the holder. This is only beneficial if you plus it. So they'll have the option of plus only.
Right.
If we believe it's a plus, they'll receive the coin back. Okay. If it is a plus, it'll come out of a PCGS holder into our holder.
All right. Next question. I think this has already been answered. Will CAC slabs extend to the modern coins? I think yes, they will. Okay. Next question. How do we gain access to your buy list?
Well, I don't really have a buy list. I mean, I do have bids on an exchange called the CDNX exchange, and it's not every coin. It's kind of impossible. I have stated to the public, if you have a coin, you want an offer, we'll make an offer. I mean, if you have a 1928 D nickel in 63, I'll make a fair offer, but I don't even know if I have a bid on it or not. I probably don't have the bid on it. I might. The bid could be 5 years old. I wouldn't even know. I have so many bids, I can't keep track of them. But we always, we're always fair to the public. We always make offers, but it's impossible to bid on every coin, right? So I would say to look at the gray sheet has CAC prices in it. It's pretty close. Those aren't always from my bids. Sometimes they're derived from auction records. Sometimes they're my bids.
Yeah,
we don't have a so-called buy list.
Right. So the other option there is just join CDN exchange, and then you can get access to.
Right. That's subscription service, but that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Will you bring your grading sets to the ANA summer seminar?
Well, I think if we're invited to, yes. I have a feeling that I believe that's NGC's. I believe that's their role for the. I don't know if we would even be able to. If we were able to, I would say yes.
Right.
Yeah. But I believe NGC would probably want to have their sets there instead. They're the authorized grading service.
Yep. So, but other than that, you will have them at major shows, ANA,
Right.
in Baltimore. Okay. All right. Next question. Will you keep track of resubmissions similar to the PCGS Security Shield?
I'm not clear on the Security Shield, what it does actually. So I don't know.
They may be referring to the sniffer device that can tell when a coin's been resubmitted.
Sniffer, I think the sniffer detects chemicals. They have something else, I think, which detects, I think, through light rays or something, if they've seen the coin before. I believe they have that technology. And we do have someone looking into that, but I always feel like if you have a skilled set of graders, it really, I think, and people are paying it for professional service. I think you really want to give it a fresh look without being biased, if that, or possible. So, like I said, we're looking into that, but I mean, I've had conversations with dealers saying, "Hey, I tried this coin 5 times, and then I sent in the 6th time, and you stickered it." And I said, "Okay, well, I guess you were right. We were wrong. But it's not like they caught us or anything. But
Yeah.
there are coins that are liner coins that can go either ways. Unfortunately, that's just part of the nature of the business. And to have a hard and fast rule, and we do know here which coins we didn't sticker, and we do sticker coins every day that we didn't sticker before. It doesn't happen on a big percentage of the time, but we give them people are paying us for service. We give it a fair look. And sometimes I look at a coin and say, or the grader will say, "John, why didn't the sticker?" And I look at it and go, "I have no idea why." And I mentioned in other interviews, I think the biggest fault there, I believe, is fatigue. Fatigue is really, I find that when you're tired, like you tend to be, at least I know I am. If I'm tired, I tend to be a little tougher, maybe because I'm trying to overcompensate for not making a mistake. That's why it's important to stay fresh.
All right. Next question. How often do you see worked on coins in non-detailed slabs? Non-detailed slabs.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we see coins all the time with a film on them, but it's hard to say if the film was applied by a coin dealer, a coin doctor, or it could have been the little old lady that owned them that packaged them up. It's difficult to say. I don't know the percentages, but it's also a matter of tolerance too. I mean, there's almost every coin's been touched one way or another. If I mean, I could find something wrong with every coin. You could show me every sticker coin on the planet, and I could tell you why. I could be critical of every single coin with a sticker, and find some faults to that coin. But as you have to be somewhat realistic. I mean, if you're grading a 1793 chain cent, and in AU, I mean, you have to be a little more tolerant than, let's say, a Randall Hoard large cent. So just the nature of the coin, or a $1794 that, we've stickered $1794 that we would sticker if they were $1894, for example, just the nature of the beast. So you have to be a little forgiving, especially with coins that were meant for circulation, right?
All right. Next question. Will the new CAC grading service employ the same strict criteria as currently stickered PCGS and NGC coins?
The answer is yes.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Thanks for the strict and consistent evaluation of coins over the past 15 years. In my opinion, that has helped NGC and PCGS stay in line. As nearly 58% of all NGC and PCGS submissions since 2007 have not met CAC standards, and other services have had to respond by star and plus grading. It is good for all collectors and investors to have a service more interested in identifying consistent coin quality than in simply raking in submission revenues. I'm confident new CAC will continue to benefit numismatics in this way. So comment there. All right. Next question. Will coins be imaged with photos available online similar to PCGS TrueView?
The answer is yes. We're right now we're setting up, we have plans in our building for 3 separate photography stations. So 3 cameras, 3 teams, and that's one of our goals, to have world-class photography.
All right. Next question, will PCGS recognize varieties similar to NGC and PCGS to a lesser extent?
Well, I mean, at the moment, we were going to recognize just the major varieties, mostly the Redbook varieties, and maybe the FS 01s. And we are looking into doing something more comprehensive, but we have to find the right talent. We're looking for the right guy or the right team that can do varieties. And we haven't found that person yet, but we have a few resumes that are promising.
Yeah. All right, next question. When will the new holder design be announced? And I think you've already put out some images related to that, correct?
Images were they were like, glam shot. They were sort of, and they weren't really accurate. We're slated to do a press release tomorrow to our collector members and the press with the new holder.
Okay.
And it'll be, I think we got it right this time. I mean, yeah.
Oh, all right. So we'll all see that in Coin World in a week or two, I'm sure.
But you'll have an email from us tomorrow with the picture. You'll see.
And will the new holder fit in the PCGS boxes?
Yes, right. Yes, it's approximately the same size. It'll fit in there. Yes.
I'm thrilled to hear that. So that's people like all their slabs in the same box without having to put them in sideways. Yeah. All right. Next comment says it's a tragedy to hear that the second opinion function represented by the stickering service will be phased out. And I think kind of the sentiment there is, with the stickering service, you get the endorsement of PCGS and CAC. And, now with this, you'll be getting just the endorsement of CAC grading.
Right. Like I said, we'll see how the market treats that. But and as I said, they'll still have the CAC stickering opportunity. And, we're not going to have, our vintage program in Virginia Beach, and we have 3 finalizers, and we're going to have a team of 3 top guys on every coin. So it's not going to be like one and done where one guy looks at it and they pass it down. It's going to be, we're going to be just as stringent as we are at CAC here. So.
All right. Next question on everyone's minds. When do you expect the wait period to end? When will you start accepting submissions for CAC grading?
Well, we're slated for we're telling people the first quarter of next year, and every day that goes by, there's another delay for a few days here and there. But we're expecting the first quarter. We're going to have a soft opening just for shareholders, just because we want to work out the kinks and the bugs of the system. And then when we feel confident that we're ready to go, we'll open up to our members, collector and dealer members. And again, depending on the backlog, we'll open up the waiting list. But it's quite possible the waiting list could take quite a while. It just depends. It depends on how we're doing.
Yeah, and I'm guessing the first product will actually sell for premium just because people are crazy about different holders.
Well, I don't know. I hope that people are mentioning, and again, we designed our holder in the United States. We're tooling it in the United States. We're producing it here. It's costing us a fortune. We are paying for molds, and we are paying triple of what we'd have to pay in China, right? So, I mean, for us to change our mold, I don't know what that would take. I mean, is it possible the label could be tweaked here and there? I mean, that's always possible. I tend to focus on the coin and not the holder, right? So I know a lot of people, I notice on Instagram, a lot of the younger collectors I've spoken to, they're really more interested in the holders than the coin.
Yeah.
Steer them gently try to steer them toward the coin.
No, the holders are collectible too.
Okay. Well, I know. Here you have a gold sticker, 38D nickel, and 5, and you could buy an AU bust quarter that's beautiful.
Right.
For the price, and to me it's a no-brainer, but I try.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Is there any way for a purchaser of a non-CAC coin to know whether this has been previously submitted to CAC and not approved?
I mean, we haven't made that available. The reason is we've told our submitters from day one, really, I guess if we change our policy, we have to announce it. Okay, we're changing our policy, and your coins that do not sticker, the whole world will know about them, right? So many people, I believe, may not want their coin sent in for that reason, and
Right.
we could just change retroactively, and therefore, that would so-called maybe damage people's personal property. So we have no interest in doing that.
Right, sure. All right, next question. Do you make sight unseen offers on CAC coins?
I do, yes.
Okay. Next question. Following up to the grading set, will any allowances be made for certain year mint discrepancies, or will an entire series be subject to the same standard, regardless of the fact that certain issues were
Yeah.
poorly struck or worse than the others?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean, and you will see in our grading set, you will see, obviously, you're going to see an ADS dollar with a bold strike. You might see an 83.0 dollar that's 95% struck, but it's still good enough to be a 65. Now, that 90 and the 83.0 has to have other attributes to make up for that, right? So if you're pulling away from one category, you're subtracting from the strike. Again, the strike's good enough to be a 65. That's okay, but it better be strong everywhere else. Great luster, great eye appeal, few bag marks. So, and then you're going to have other coins that come well struck, like let's say an 1880p dollar. The strike's okay, but the luster is off, right? So that coin will have to be technically nicer than the ADS because it doesn't have the eye appeal. So it better have fewer marks. So, an ADS dollar, as you know, you've seen a million of them, they can get away with a few more abrasions because they have the booming luster, they have the great strike, and those are pluses. That can be additive. It could still be a gem, a so-called gem. So they won't just see a grading set with ADS dollars. They'll see other mints. They'll see coins that come notoriously weakly struck. And, we're strong believers in like O mint dollars, 21S dollars. They have to be very well struck to be a gem, to be a 65. And that'll be evidence in the grading set.
All right. Another person asks if another person whose name I'm not going to say here is associated with CAC Grading, and you're not going to make your partner or stockholder list public, I assume.
Well, actually, we have a brochure that's going to be sent out at the ANA, and we are going to send a questionnaire out to our shareholders to let them know that we would like to use their name in our brochure, just one shot deal. And on our website, maybe not, I'm not really sure, but we want their permission. So if someone lives in Seattle, Washington, and they're a collector, it could just say collector, Washington State. That's all it'll say, right?
Sure.
Or have their name, right? So that'd be, we respect everyone's privacy, and if they want to be publicly known, that's fine. If they want their privacy, that's also fine.
Sure. Okay. All right. Next question. Will collectors still be able to join CAC and make direct submissions?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next question. Is CAC going to be set up at the fund show in January?
We're building a booth at the moment. We're targeting building a booth. We're not going to be able to accept submissions there, maybe answer some questions, pass out some brochures. We're aiming to do that. Yes.
Okay. Next person asks, does grading coins and continuing to deal in them represent a conflict of interest?
Yes, it does. I believe it does, and I've always compared it to being like, it's a conflict, but I also feel that it keeps us sharp, and I compare it to owning a restaurant. So we own a restaurant, we love the food, we're eating there every day, so knock yourself out. And
all right.
So again, I think it's also a conflict that keeps us sharp because we've always been capitalized for 8 figures at CAC, and if we're spending our own money, we must like what we're doing, and we have confidence in the product. Is it a conflict? Yes, but I believe it, like I said, it keeps us sharp, and I think it benefits the consumer. So,
all right. Next question. Will you make a box that will accommodate NGC slabs?
we are working on a box that will accommodate our slabs.
Would it also accommodate the PCGS and NGC slabs?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can fit them in the box. Yes, you'll be able to. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right, next question. This one gets a little bit confusing. Says from what I've heard in this presentation so far, it sounds like you will not be stickering your own slabs, but instead adding a plus grade to those coins that would normally earn a sticker in one of the other grading service slabs. There's a lot of nuance there.
Well, we will be grading plus coins at the new service, but not every sticker coin will get a plus, for certainly not, right? Some will, won't. I think that answers the question. But correct, we will not be stickering our own holder, correct?
Yeah, I think he's asking about coins that would normally earn a sticker, and those, by default, those come across as straight CAC grading.
Right.
If there's a plus, it's got to be something that is more above
Right.
that. So
right.
Hopefully that answers that. If not, the listener can clarify in the Q&A. All right, next thing, does CAC confirm the designations of Cameo and Deep Cameo when considering stickering?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Next question. This is a good question. Is it supposed to be pronounced CAC or CAC?
That's a good question. I think it's personal preference.
My sense is most of the insiders use CAC just because it's faster to say that. So
I just say I get Chris. I just say is it stickered. That's what I say.
Okay. Like you call a coin a 5 instead of MS Gen
Right.
65. So all right. Next one. Will you have sample slabs? As collector of sample slabs, I would very much like to have one.
Yeah, for certain. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to know. Next thing. Important question. Will CAC continue to send out candy apples to their customers?
Oh God, I don't know. I actually we just got notification that the app that business that we were getting apples from, I think this is their last year. So we have to think of something else.
Okay.
And I have friends that are diabetic saying, "Why are you sending me these apples?"
All right. Next question. Will there be CAC registry sets?
Yes.
All right. Excellent. All right. I can't believe it. We got to the end of the questions. That's remarkable.
Good.
Well, I'm sure we'll have a couple more come in. So.
All right. And as far as the registries go, we're going to have 2 registry sets on our website. We're going to have one registry that's universal. It'll accept NGC coins, PCGS coins, plus coins, and CAC coins. We'll of course give a little benefit to the CAC coins, a little bump, and that will accept everything. And then we're going to have another registry set which is exclusively CAC, which will incorporate the stickered coins and the encapsulated coins. So we're going to have 2 registries and side by side.
All right. Next question: will gold stickered coins, current gold stickered coins, automatically be reslabbed at a point higher by CAC?
Well, yes, and it's yes under the same conditions as the previous question, unless there's a problem.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, about 2 weeks ago, someone sent a gold stickered coin to us. I can tell you it was an 1858 S20 and 53. And it was an old holder, and the sticker was worn off, and a grader brings it to me and said, "How could we have gold sticker this coin?" Like, and I have no idea. It was an AU, but it had really crazy film on it, and something happened to the coin since it's been graded and stickered. And we reached out to the client, and he was nice enough to sell it to us at a friendly price. We took the sticker off and just sold the wholesale market at a loss. And with that dealer, said he'll send us the service to get the film removed, but it was cleaned underneath. But in either case, overall, yes. But however, I answered that question. Say a gentleman came in and he wanted to know, well, if a coin has its AU 50 with a gold sticker, does that mean you're going to call it a 50 plus? And I'm like, no. A 50 for us to gold sticker, it has to be a 55, because 53 to me or to us, it's not really a real grade. It sort of just got jammed in there at PCGS at the last minute. We're sort of stuck with it, but a lot of 50 coins could be 53s. They can go back and forth either way, but for a 50 to get a gold sticker, it has to be a 55. But I still believe, especially in today's market with gold stickers, I believe that it's a backwards move. I think a gold sticker coin is worth more in the holder with the gold sticker.
Right.
And I wouldn't even entertain getting a higher grade holder. I would leave it as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. The market has really embraced those gold stickers. People really chase them.
Right. And especially with the stickering rates going higher next year, we're going to have fewer submissions. I think right now we gold sticker 4 out of 1,000. So, you know,
I have a friend who he has an awesome eye. You know him, you respect him, but he loves gold CACs and he'll pay for them. So, all right.
Well, if you're doing it as a hobby, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Next one. Are you good with the term green bean?
Fine with me.
All right. Next one. Will you ever do paper money?
Well, again, that falls into, I do consider numismatics. I love large size currency. I have a small collection of them. I've had oil paintings done from them, Trump Lloyd, but I would love to get into that business, but again, without the top experts, it's not even worth having a conversation.
All right. Next question. Will CAC registry include both PCGS and NGC coins?
Well, yeah, our non-exclusive registry will allow them. Yes. I said we're going to have 2, and we will have awards for both registries. And if you have a CAC coin, you can actually put it in both registries. It'll qualify for both.
All right. Well, we have a comment here. It says, "Thank you, John, for helping keep the other guys honest."
Well,
all right. Next.
I answer that. I think they do the best they can do. You know?
Yeah. Next question. Is there any consideration to sticker the first generation annex coins? Some of those are very nice.
Yeah, we had issues with that when we first started CAC. I had some collectors protesting about that, and one gentleman who was local, as a collector, had about 500 of them, and I said, "Send them in. Let me take a look at them." And it was such a small percentage that it didn't. I think there'd just be too much negativity, and I had the impression that the better annex coins were already removed from the holders. Not to mention not having the barcode and everything made it cumbersome, and just not a lot of demand. There just wasn't enough demand.
All right. So for that situation, so CAC Grading would accept something in an annex holder, correct? Or would it have to be cracked out first?
The problem we have, I understand. I have to talk to someone at ANAX. I don't even know. I think I don't know. Is that still James Taylor?
I'm not sure.
Or Mark? I'm not sure, but I understand that you can't see the rim on some of the coins, and if you crack the coin out and there's a rim problem, you want to be able to send it back to them and have them reholder it. I think that's why the other services don't do it, because they don't have a reciprocal agreement. So it's tricky if you can't see the rim, right?
So if someone really wants it done, they have to crack it out themselves, accept the risk, and then send it into.
Yeah. Or I would just hate to crack a coin out and say, listen, if there's rim damage, we don't accept responsibility. But it's never a good thing when a customer is unhappy. So you make that call. Hey, you're 1815 half and VF. We cracked it out. There's a rim problem. We can't put it in the holder. Not a good thing.
Right.
It might have cost the guy a few $1,000s, and I'd rather avoid a situation where a customer could be unhappy.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Any plans to do tokens and medals?
Again, I would say without the expert, I would say no. As an expert, I mean, as a kid, I worked in a coin shop in Flemington, Randy Block, and he was a big dealer of hard times tokens, Civil War tokens. I think they're really neat. I would like to eventually recognize them and grade them, but not on day one.
Yeah. All right. Next question. You keep talking about a shortage of experts in these various areas. Where are the new experts coming from? Where are they being educated?
Well, I believe, and as you know, like I was speaking to an architect today about this issue, and it's like, we just can't go to like a Harvard or a top-notch school and hire a bunch of coin graders that were taught, right? They're really going to learn working at a coin shop, going to coin shows, the way I learned, the way you probably learned, just buying and selling coins as a vest pocket dealer. You know, like when I was a kid, I was a collector, but if I wanted another coin, I couldn't afford it. I had to sell something. So you keep doing that, pretty soon you're sort of like a vest pocket dealer. I believe that the talent will come from coin shops and up and coming dealers that are active at coin shows. That seems to be the best incubator.
Yeah.
You got the sharpest guys. I do believe too is, and I've always, and probably not the right thing to say technically, but I really do believe that sometimes I don't know if I know how to grade, but I know what coins are worth. And if someone said this is a 65, I would say, yeah, but you know, I would never buy this as a 65. I would never pay 65 money. So why is that? And then try to figure out why. But I think we sort of appraise coins more so than we grade them. And I think it's very, very difficult to be a top-notch grader without being a top-notch coin dealer, right? I think it'd be very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but difficult.
Yeah, it's when you're a dealer, just having that skin in the game makes it a little bit more,
Yeah.
Visceral. Sure.
Right. It has to make sense where you're grading this coin at 65, you're making it worth $3,000, but out of the holder's worth $1,000.
Yeah.
That's a problem, right?
Right.
There's a
All right, we got a Canadian listener says we could really use more consistent grading in Canada. Any thoughts about expanding into Canada material, especially if the talent materializes?
Yeah, well, that would probably be the first area, and I know at NGC was our first area because it's. I collected Canadian coins, but also they're very similar to U.S. manufacture. They sort of look the same. I think that might be the first area we would go into, Canadian.
Yeah.
But I still want to have a top-notch expert in there. You know, back in NGC in the old days, we had Ken Cross, so we had it covered.
Mm-hmm. All right, next question. Will eBay and the major auction firms accept the CAC slabs for sale? This is a good question because all their, IT infrastructure is set up for PCGS and NGC.
Yeah, well, I was on good terms with the expert at eBay, and he just left recently. Gene Cook is back, who I know very well, and I don't know. Back in 2010 or 2012, eBay came to me, and I chaired the committee that determined what services would be allowed on eBay and what they had to abide by. And we came up with 6 or 7 different points of criteria. And on day one, I believe NGC and PCS qualified. ANAX and ICG did not meet all the requirements, but within 24 hours agreed. So there became 4 of them. So the fact that I think I chair the committee probably gives me a little more insight, and I know for certain that we're going to make the requirements, and maybe not for a few months, because I think it was a 50,000. I think there had to be 50,000 coins on the marketplace. But I will be speaking to eBay very shortly. I'm highly confident that we will be accepted on eBay.
Sure.
As far as the other auction companies, that's up to their policy. It's not my policy.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't answer for that.
Right. All right. Next thing, after hearing your response about 53s, are you less likely to sticker a 53 coin?
No, I mean, we sticker 53s. We don't know why, but we do. I mean, it's just, okay, this is a 50. It's a nice 50. It's a 50. It just doesn't, to me, it's always like there's a 50, and then there's a 55, which is a choice AU, and there's a 58, that's a slider. In the 53, I just think, I remember at PCGS at the time, we were building grading sets and looking at the grading scale, and here's a 50, here's a 55. Wow, there's a really big gap there, I don't know why we didn't call them 20 and 23 and 25 and 27 and other. VF is, I think, ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Because I think there should be a coin that makes VF, a coin that's almost XF. So you got 20 and 35, and there should be one in the middle. But to have a 25 and 30, all I could tell you is that's tougher to do, right? And maybe not even necessary.
All right. Next question. Do you have any apprentices at CAC to help with education?
But we really don't, because we just don't have the time. We're flat out. we're always at 110% of capacity, and we just don't have time to teach. We just don't, and that's why I really believe that. I really believe the master grading sets, we're going to have millions of dollars invested in those grading sets and hundreds of coins, maybe thousands of coins. And I believe that will be the best teacher. And if a kid's really sharp and he could pick it up, he could look at the grading sets. It wouldn't be fair to put him in a grading room to test them. I would say, here, come in, look at the grading set for 2 days. Look at all the coins. Now we're going to put you on first base. That's what we call it in our business, the first grader, and see how he does. And if they're sharp, they should be able to pick it up from the grading set. The first thing I always tell people, and that which I don't recognize, is the hardest thing to recognize for a novice is cabinet friction or rub on a coin, like a coin that's a super slider. It could be a walk-in Liberty half, a stand Liberty quarter, a bust half. And if you could see, I believe if you could see friction, I believe you could be taught to be a great grader. If you can't see it, then there's a problem. That's one thing you have to be able to recognize.
All right. Next question. What safeguards does CAC have in place to not be more willing to sticker submission from certain submitters than others?
Wait, could you repeat that?
The question is, do you have safeguards in place to make sure you're not being more favorable toward certain submitters than other ones?
Safeguards in place. Well, first of all, when you see our documents, the new CAC will have a new application. It's a different corporation, and we'll have a different submission agreement. In the submission agreement, it's going to be very explicit, and it's in our contracts as well, that you cannot lobby for grading, right? So you can't text a grader in the grading room. You can't call a grader. And if you do, that grader has to recuse himself from that coin or that invoice. So if someone wants to resubmit a coin, that's fine. They could send a letter, right? A written letter, and it could be read out to the grader. But we really don't want to know whose coin it is. I mean, sometimes you can't help it. There are some guys out there that just love to lobby, the professional lobbyers. And for me, it's a turnoff. I mean, if I get lobbied on a coin, I really basically, and I've told my so-called friends, I said, don't do this. Don't set me up. I said, you just lost a half a point, because now I'm going to feel like I'm going to be more favorable because you're my friend for 20 years. So I don't want to know anything. I just want to see the coins, right? And again, that's another reason for, is there a conflict that we buy our coins? Yeah, there's a conflict. Guess what? If I'm doing Len all these favors, right? And then I'm gonna have to buy all these overgraded coins. It's not so good, right? So if we're eating our own cooking, we want to make sure it's organic, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I guess my other comment there is, one time I got a tour of the grading tent of one of the top services at one of the coin shows, and watching those guys in action, unless they have very specific market knowledge about a coin, they have no idea who's submitting.
Right. And the fact is, like, why would you want to pollute your product and disparage your product and dilute the quality and bring the values down? And I don't have any friends that are worth that doing for, and you're not my friend if you want me to do that for you, right? I don't consider that a friend. Yeah. My friends have left me alone.
Right. All right. Next question on crossovers. What might we expect for coins that have previously been denied a CAC sticker? So, for example, might a PCGS AU50 coin without a sticker be graded AU50 at the new CAC? Good question.
I mean, like I said, we do sticker coins every day that we previously passed on. So if someone wants a, again, there are different options. I mean, someone wants a straight crossover, then if they set it 100 coins that weren't sticker, they're likely not to do very well. But if they're willing to accept a lower grade, if they have a 55, they're willing to accept a 50 or 53, they might be okay. It really depends. And as you know, Len, if you look at the price guides and the auction records of original seeded coins, I mean, nice 50s are worth more than not so nice 55s, right? If it could be the same coin, right? The collectors really want to they really want something that's true for the grade. I've seen coins in 55 and 58 holders bring MS63 money because it's true for the grade. And like I said, I think the market will sort that out.
Yeah. All right, next question is a follow-up to the previous one. Are submissions anonymous to the grader? So when a coin comes in, there's nothing that says who owns it, right?
Well, that's true. Although, listen, there are some guys that put their stickers on the back, their company sticker. We don't remove them. So yeah, we know sometimes, and we probably know a lot of times. But like I said, it doesn't really mean anything to me. I mean, it's really a matter of I mean, our product is a lot more important than making our friends, so-called friends, happy, right?
Right. Okay. Once again, we've gotten to the end of the questions, so it's been a great session. Thanks for fielding all the questions, and hopefully everyone in the audience got a better understanding of what's going on here. I know there's been as with any big news in the coin business, there's going to be tons of questions. So, and a lot of this, the market will work out over time as well. So, all right, I think we're going to wrap it up there. John, thanks so much for being on today, and appreciate it very much.
Oh, pleasure.
All right, thanks everyone for attending.
Thanks.